beside her. I took this all in and decided I was not going to be shoved off my life's path. I was going to plug my ears, ignore the issues, and follow my dream to the end. I was going to decipher the language of some large-brained non-human species, creating a Rosetta Stone of sorts to end the solitude of my species. We needed to hear what another animal on this planet was saying, I thought, because it seemed that we were going mad in our isolation. A lofty aim for a teenager, I know, but this is what I wanted to do. Of course, things are so much simpler when you are a child, and so I failed to stay true to my 15-year-old self. What I didn't realize back then was that if I ignored the impact humans were having on the animals I had chosen to study, I would end up studying their extinction. It gets even more complex. Scientists who go to learn about animals in the remote regions of our planet also meet indigenous people. While the peoples and cultures that evolved over thousands of years in one place are adapted to their home environment, the scientist is, in many ways, an introduced species. When I first arrived in the remote archipelago on the west coast of Canada, where I still live, to study whales, my chosen large-brained mammal, I didn't understand the land, the animals, or the people. I had no idea how to respond to storms or predators, or where to find food. I didn't immediately recognize the difference between the nomads of the planet, meaning people who moved generation after generation, and the people who spent thousands of years in one place. Over the years, I have encountered instances where my indigenous companions have heard and felt things I don't. Asking them questions didn't help. I was simply not adapted to the place and did not have the internal hardware to perceive some things. However, the act of doing science, decades of continuously counting the number of birds or fish, the minutes between whale blows, the date the herring arrived, the amount of rainfall, leads to a gradual understanding of a place. I learned to expect the rush of black and silver herring schools roiling beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean, pulling huge spring salmon in their wake, with the A-clans of the northern resident orca on their tails. As I began to feel the pulse of this place, I perceived the difference between normal and exceptional. For example, a healthy run of salmon, as opposed to a run of salmon that never arrived. Seeing the missing pieces is important too, because they affect the world as much as the things I can see. No scientist can spend 10,000 years becoming finely tuned to a place, but the constant counting, measuring, and weighing, then analyzing data to reveal the trends of life can bring scientists into alignment with indigenous viewpoints. As a result, when the big machines of industry advance on us, whether clear-cutting forests, damming rivers to flood valleys, or exterminating animals for profit, scientists can see the running cracks as they form, undoing the entire web of life. We see the disappearances. We are emotionally hurt by the loss, and naturally move to take a stand with the people of the place, the indigenous people. In all the books I read as a child, I didn't notice this alliance, but when I went back to them as an adult, I realized it was there. It is not an easy relationship for many reasons, but saving our planet and acting in accordance with indigenous tradition are one and the same. Salmon and people came back to the coast of British Columbia together 10,000 years ago as the glaciers receded. The land had been scraped down to bare rock by the crushing weight of the ice. Salmon, swimming up the rivers by the millions to spawn and then die, helped rebuild the soil, feeding trees that eventually decayed, became soil, and fed new forests. As much as killing was important to the survival of the humans, so was stewardship. They had to make sure they left enough for tomorrow, for their children, for the future. Alliances between scientists and the people of the land are forged because, in very different ways, we personally experience the changes. We feel the death of the land, and this urgency drives us. Thinking I could ignore the urge to push back against the destruction of the place I came to think of as home was a child's view, because standing in this place, the harm was advancing on me as well. I have so many questions. Do world leaders and CEOs of oil